Tonight, days after cementing a pipeline plan with Alberta, the Prime Minister meets with its critical neighbor.
And an important part of friendship is telling each other the truth.
David Eby hashes out BC's concerns with Mark Carney. Reaction in Canada after an Israeli minister taunts flotilla detainees.
It was really shocking and disheartening.
The condemnation of Itamar Ben-Gvir from governments around the world, including his own. And when the Artemis II crew came to Montreal, Canadians had questions.
Did you roller coaster scream on that re-entry? And if you didn't, how did you not?
We all want to know, like, was there a let go moment? Strap in and lean forward. These astronauts talk as well as they fly.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Fresh off an agreement with Alberta to move ahead with a potential oil pipeline to the Pacific, the Prime Minister went to BC to meet with a premier sharply critical of the project. David Eby has accused Mark Carney of rewarding bad behavior by catering to what he called separatist premiers. The Prime Minister arriving in Vancouver with a smile, but also a warning: if BC stands in the way of a pipeline, Ottawa will shift its development attention elsewhere. As David Thurton explains, the two may be talking about Ottawa's role in addressing BC's own economic priorities, but the relationship is clearly under pipeline pressure.
Mark Carney attempting to win over a room and a province, reassuring them after his energy deal with Alberta.
In the weeks ahead, we will engage with British Columbia. In fact, the hours ahead, I'm going to see the Premier in a moment.
Lately, the Prime Minister and BC's Premier haven't been seeing eye to eye.
There's no doubt in my mind but that the Prime Minister is a friend to British Columbia. And an important part of friendship is telling each other the truth.
And the truth, David Eby said the day before, is Alberta is unfairly getting its way.
Bluntly, we cannot have bad behavior decide who gets engaged with by the federal government.
Eby points to the Alberta Premier's handling of calls for Alberta to leave the country. Both Carney and Daniel Smith have said their pipeline deal was signed in part to show Canada can work for Albertans. But that has angered some in the province of BC.
Really, we're left alienated at the cost of Alberta.
With concerns a West Coast pipeline will bring oil tankers to the North Coast, the Energy Accord divides some more than unites, according to this Indigenous leader.
Who's left out of the conversation is the province of BC, and First Nations in BC have been left out of the conversation.
Not everyone feels that way.
I would say the vibe in British Columbia is complicated. There is much stronger support for an oil pipeline than there was 15 years ago.
Let's try and find solutions as opposed to simply standing up and saying, no, no, no.
The Prime Minister attempted to address those differences while dropping this subtle ultimatum.
If things get stalled here, we're going to be spending more time elsewhere in the country because we need to move forward. We need to invest at scale in the country.
After Carney's meeting with Eby was over, the Prime Minister said they're working on a new agreement with BC.
But David, I mean, those negotiations publicly at least seem to certainly lack some specifics.
Yeah, one federal official suggests this is really about reinforcing BC is at the table on major projects. Both are committing to working on clean energy projects and critical minerals, areas both sides were already focused on.
All right, we'll see what happens. That is David Thurton in Ottawa. Officials around the world, including Canada, are condemning a video they call unacceptable, even abominable. It shows an international group of detainees bound and kneeling as Israel's national security minister taunts them. Cameron McIntosh has the details from Jerusalem.
Free Palestine!
In the video, a pro-Palestinian activist's head is pushed down, while Israel's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, mocks her and others after Israeli forces blocked a flotilla of ships trying to reach Gaza in international waters. Others are shown forced to kneel with their hands bound. Flotilla organizers say 12 of the detainees are Canadian.
I have directed my officials to summon the Israeli ambassador regarding the mistreatment of civilians aboard the flotilla.
About 450 pro-Palestinian activists on more than 50 small ships were stopped by Israeli forces, including this ship carrying Canadian Ehab Latoyev, who we reached just hours before.
Our goal is to wake up the conscience of the world.
If you're watching this video, it means our boat has been illegally attacked at sea.
This is the last message from his ship. His wife has not heard from him, but she has seen Ben-Gvir's video.
It was really shocking and disheartening. Many more words come to mind, but yeah, it was bad. It was bad, for sure.
It's not the first time activists have tried to reach Gaza or that Israel has detained them. Lawyers for the activists accuse Israel of violating international law.
It says that no country can basically do any investigation or arrest on a ship except for the country of the flag, and all of the boats were foreign flagged boats.
If the protesters' point is to draw attention to Israel and the conditions Palestinians face in Gaza, Ben-Gvir's video may have helped, drawing plenty of condemnation from several world leaders, including Prime Minister Mark Carney denouncing the abominable treatment of civilians, while Israel's Foreign Affairs Minister called the post a, quote, disgraceful display. Earlier this week, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu praised Israeli forces for blocking the flotilla, but said today the way Ben-Gvir deals with the activists in the video is not in line with Israel's values. Netanyahu also says the activists will soon be deported. Global Affairs Canada has not said whether consular officials have met with any of the Canadians. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Jerusalem.
And Israel's parliament has voted almost unanimously to dissolve itself, setting the stage for an early election.
אני קובע כי הצעת החוק להתפזרות הכנסת ה-25 התשפ"ו 2026.
The 120-member Knesset still has to set an election date and do a final vote, a process that could take weeks. But it is expected to bring Israelis to the polls as early as September. Benjamin Netanyahu's governing coalition faces an uphill battle, lagging in popular opinion since the Hamas attacks of October the 7th. Well, Ontario's Ministry of Health says a hospital patient who traveled to East Africa is being tested for the Ebola virus out of an abundance of caution. This comes as the World Health Organization warns the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Uganda is larger than first thought.
Beyond the confirmed cases, there are almost 600 suspected cases and 139 suspected deaths.
The WHO's Director General says he expects the numbers to keep increasing, given the amount of time the virus was circulating before being detected. The Trump administration is ramping up pressure on Cuba, indicting former President Raúl Castro over the downing of 2 civilian planes 30 years ago. Katie Simpson now on the heightening tensions.
A moment of celebration in Miami, one that some in the Cuban American community have longed for, as the Trump administration ramps up pressure on the Cuban regime,
charging Raúl Castro and several others with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals.
Raúl Castro, the 94-year-old former Cuban president and brother of the late Fidel Castro, is also facing 4 counts of murder and destruction of aircraft charges, accused of ordering the downing of 2 civilian planes flown by a Cuban exile group in 1996, killing 4 Cuban Americans.
Today is a step towards accountability.
The indictment comes as the U.S. president has spent months laying the groundwork to force change.
We're freeing up Cuba.
The U.S. has threatened to impose tariffs on any country selling oil to Cuba, essentially creating a blockade, adding to intense fuel shortages and blackouts. All while the Trump administration has pushed for economic and political reforms.
No, there won't be escalation. I don't think there needs to be. Look, the place is falling apart.
Trump declined to say whether the U.S. would seize Castro the same way it went after Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro, who was captured in a military raid and flown to New York to face drug-related charges.
We are sending the message to the Castro family.
It's time for you to leave. You have the option not to wind up where Maduro is.
Cuba's president has denounced the charges, accusing the U.S. of fabricating the case as a way to justify military aggression. But the Trump administration insists Raúl Castro will face these charges.
We expect that he will show up here by his own will or by another way and go to prison.
Amid these tensions, the U.S. military says a carrier strike group has now arrived in the Caribbean. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Russian President Vladimir Putin concluded a visit to Beijing following a path taken by Donald Trump just days earlier. Boarding his plane, surrounded by chanting, flag-waving crowds, Putin comes away with dozens of cooperation agreements. Both leaders portrayed the relationship as a source of geopolitical stability, with Xi Jinping criticizing what he called unilateralism and hegemonism, words considered by many observers to be a veiled reference to the United States. Well, the FIFA World Cup is just weeks away, and according to a new report, Canada will spend more than $1 billion as a co-host. She and Desjardins now with concerns the tourism payoff won't match the price tag.
This Toronto hotel is expecting to be a lot busier when the World Cup is in town. It's smack dab beside the field, but less than a month out.
No nights are sold out yet. We're still holding out hope, but, you know, if it was anything like Taylor Swift, we would have had all the rooms in a long time ago, yeah.
It's not just Hotel X. FIFA canceled thousands of bookings for teams, sponsors, and broadcasters after demand projections fell short. And this hotel operator in Canada's other host city, Vancouver, has space too.
We're waiting. We've got a few rooms left. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes.
One thing that's more certain is how much it's all going to cost Canadian taxpayers. The Parliamentary Budget Officer estimates the bill to host just 13 games will be more than $1 billion, about $82 million per match. That's on par with the cost per game in previous tournaments in other countries.
But history shows that whether we're talking about the World Cup or the Olympic Games, historically, it's been very difficult to recover the cost.
This tourism professor points out it might be even harder at the upcoming World Cup, with Mexico and the U.S. hosting too.
We cannot expect to have the full economic benefits that in the past some of the countries have had with hosting the World Cup.
But it's not necessarily all about the immediate return. According to the head of the Vancouver 2010 Olympic Games, big sporting events can boost future tourism, create more opportunities, and leave a legacy behind.
I think the experience of coming to Canada is profoundly positive, and I think Canada will punch above its weight delivering the World Cup, but there's still work to do.
The marketing director of Toronto's Hotel X says just being at the center of one of the world's biggest sporting events is a win on its own. Chien Desjardins, CBC News, Toronto.
In Surrey, BC, the home of Cricket Canada's new president has been targeted in a shooting. Arvinder Khosa was elected last month. Investigators say the shooting may be linked to extortion. In April, the Fifth Estate uncovered allegations of corruption, organized crime influence, and attempted match fixing involving senior figures tied to Cricket Canada. Those accused deny the allegations. Well, the owners of a Made in Canada website that helped influencers monetize hateful content say they are shutting it down. This follows a Fifth Estate investigation which revealed the site, called Entropy, had become a revenue stream for neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Ioana Remiliotis has the update.
Entropy was in the business of helping dozens of white supremacists and neo-Nazis make money off hate, promoting itself as a safe haven.
Wake up, America! It's the Jews!
So that groups like these, including ones booted off other platforms, could still solicit funds from their followers. Not anymore. According to a recent post by Entropy co-founder Emmanuel Constantinidis, we are back to square one in terms of looking for stable financial infrastructure, and with that being the case, we can't, in good conscience, keep running the site. Entropy has been operating out of Tbilisi, Georgia, though it was founded in Calgary in 2019. According to other recent posts by Constantinides, who created the platform with his wife Rachel and partner David Bell, Entropy's Georgian account was shut down after the Fifth Estate revealed Entropy provided a revenue stream for hateful content and was having trouble opening alternative accounts in Canada, but was looking for other ways to get hundreds of thousands of dollars to its users.
Without Entropy, these racist live streamers are really kind of in the lurch, struggling to figure out where to send their supporters to send them money.
Constantinides declined an interview with the Fifth Estate, but in an email said Entropy always allowed a diversity of political thought on the platform to ensure everyone felt welcome and that they would not be discriminated against unfairly.
The risk with any of these companies is that it becomes a whack-a-mole game, that something else is going to spring up to fill the boots that Entropy played for hate organizations.
Entropy may be down, but it's not clear if it's out. Its owners say they are looking for a way to get back in business under a different name. Joanna Rumiliotis, CBC News, Toronto.
Montreal is celebrating tonight, taking home the biggest prize in women's hockey.
Takes it out wide, redirect, they score! A deflection in front!
We'll go to Ottawa for all the on-ice drama next. Plus, after a mission around the moon, they are taking questions from Canadians.
I'm just wondering, what was it like being in such a small space, so far away from home?
We do not have dedicated claustrophobia psychological training.
My conversation with the Artemis II crew. And later, a dramatic rescue in Saskatchewan.
We both went in there and we were just like, everybody get out, there's a fire, like we need to get out now.
How some good neighbors saved a family from the flames. We're back in 2.
Victoire! Victoire! Montreal has won their first Walter Cup.
They did it. The Montreal Victoire have won their first ever PWHL final, beating the Ottawa Charge 4-0, winning the series 3-1. So this is the first time in league history that a Canadian team has captured the Walter Cup. Sarah Levitt, hockey fan extraordinaire, is in Ottawa outside the Canadian Tire Centre tonight. What's it been like there?
I'm on the ice right now, and the players here are really, really celebrating. And, you know, a lot of them are beer soaked. You should see the coach right now. But I want to show you something pretty special. There are still fans here watching. And yes, there are Victoire fans, but there are also Ottawa Charge fans happy to see this cup, the Walter Cup, come to Canada. You know, it wasn't a sure thing. We spoke last hour, and the Victoire was up 2-0, but as this series has taught us, it was very close throughout the entire series. Of course, Montreal managed to cap it with a 4-0 win, and what a win it was. As soon as that final whistle blew, everybody got off the bench, super excited. You know, the Montreal Victoire, sort of renowned in a way. One, for their connection with the city of Montreal, where hockey is a religion, and being with the Montreal Canadiens. But secondly, it's also about where Marie-Philippe Poulin ended up. And Marie-Philippe Poulin is one of Canada's best ever hockey players. And a testament to her tonight, she won the MVP for tonight for the league. And it's just one accumulation of successes in her career. She's won gold medals, she's won silver medals, most recently in Italy. But this one, I think I heard her say, is among the most important in her entire career. So she's just giving an interview to TSN right now. We had hoped to speak to her, but this is all, and that's Anne-Renée Desbiens, the goaltender who had a shutout and had a stellar season. This game is just showing how much growth there has been in women's hockey. The PWHL continues to grow, starting 3 years ago with just 6 leagues, and now with 4 more expansion teams, next season it will be 12. And they're getting butts in seats. And as you can see, I'll get out of the way because these team members want to celebrate. Yes! Yeah!
Amazing. Only Sarah Levitt. Well done, you. I'm pretty sure you had a fantastic night. That is our Sarah Levitt in Ottawa tonight. So a proposed new bill from the Liberal government is raising concerns about online privacy.
The government will have the power to order the large communications companies to retain information about where you go, who you communicate with.
Why some big tech companies are pushing back. Plus, you sent your questions for the Artemis II astronauts, and boy, did they have answers.
What is the most Canadian thing that Jeremy did whilst he was in space?
I'm sorry.
He said sorry. My interview with Canadian Jeremy Hansen and the crew. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world. Next. A proposed bill from the Carney government is drawing the ire of some U.S. tech companies. The legislation would make it easier for police to access online data for investigations. But as Catherine Tunney explains, it is raising concerns about privacy and government overreach.
At Canada's tip line for online child sexual abuse and exploitation, workers field thousands of complaints a year, scan millions of abusive images online, but rarely see police charges.
We've got a lot of information about crimes that are occurring that our police aren't even able to get to because they're spending a lot of time in the early investigative stages to try to get the information.
It's why they are hoping the Liberals will use their majority in the House of Commons to pass Bill C-22. The federal legislation would make telecom and internet companies change their back-end systems to make it easier to hand over evidence. But it faces mounting backlash and accusations of overreach.
The government will have the power to order the large communications companies to retain information about where you go, who you communicate with, literally for an entire year.
The concerns aren't just domestic. Tech companies like Meta, Apple, Signal, and NordVPN say the Canadian bill would force them to weaken their privacy protections.
Part 2 of the bill would potentially force us to break encryption and to install government-directed hardware or software on our encrypted networks that would inevitably then also become a target for hostile actors.
Last week, the chairs of 2 American congressional committees even wrote to Canada's public safety minister, saying Bill C-22 would create significant cross-border risks to the security and data privacy of Americans. Canadian police are skeptical.
We certainly want to make sure that profit margins are not being prioritized over public safety.
Public Safety Minister Gary Nansangri is also pushing back on critics, saying the bill's intention isn't to break encryption, but to make sure police have a pathway to the increasing amount of digital evidence, provided they have a warrant.
Tech giants are misinterpreting some of the safeguards that are already built in.
Critics want to see the bill updated to make clear that the government won't break encryption. The minister's office hopes to pass the bill by summer, leaving little runway for substantial changes. Catherine Tunney, CBC News, Ottawa.
Tonight, in the breakdown, Jeremy, Christina, Victor, and Reed, the crew of Artemis II, answer Canada's questions. Hey, welcome. Come on in.
Hello.
Wow, Jeremy.
I'm allowed to give you a hug? Where do you live?
Yeah, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank
Welcome
you.
home, you guys. Home, in this case, is the Canadian Space Agency. And if you wondered how often this Artemis II crew think of the moon they just made history slingshotting around, watch how quickly they get distracted by a single picture of it.
I'm just looking at the picture, like the streaks coming through.
A flash of light in the image, a weird line catch their eyes.
I think it's just wrinkles in the fabric.
They don't miss a thing. And they have the uncanny ability to still seem to enjoy talking about their moon moments that will matter for a long time to come. I'm amazed at how clean that stuffy looks. That's incredible.
Guy's been on a heck of a journey.
You sure? Are you okay? And that is a heck of an understatement.
Reed, Victor, Christina, and Jeremy, good luck. Godspeed, Artemis II. Let's go.
all 4 traveling farther into space than ever before.
To all of you down there on Earth, we love you from the moon.
And when they plummeted back down to Earth, millions held their breath.
Splashdown, sending post-landing command now.
I know you all know that this country is particularly enchanted by what happened. And so we asked Canadians if they had some questions. And I think we were expecting a few. We did not expect the tsunami of questions that came, all from a really lovely place. And please forgive the extremely bad space pun, but we're going to launch in with a young woman named Athena. That was.
Hi, I'm Athena, and my question is, what is the most Canadian thing that Jeremy did whilst he was in space?
I'm sorry.
He says sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sorry to hear that.
He also said, how can I help you?
Your family would be happy to hear that.
Yeah, Mom and Dad would be proud.
Excellent. I think there is a question that we got that I sort of chose because it was what I was thinking when I was watching.
Hi, Artemis Integrity crew. My name's Rochelle. I'm from Winnipeg, and I just want to know, did you roller coaster scream on that reentry? And if you didn't, how did you not?
We all want to know, like, was there a let go moment?
We definitely celebrated when the 3 mains came out.
We had a bit of a roller coaster scream in the following. We are 39 times the speed of sound. We're at 4.7 Gs. We're at 36 times the speed of sound. We're at 4.4 Gs. So we had a good cadence of our Mach and our G coming in through entry. And if I had that data on a roller coaster, that probably would have been
Yep.
Those numbers were staggering.
When the vehicle's flying, it does this roll from one side to the other, and that's how you steer to hit your landing site. But then you see the Earth go whipping by the window, and you go all the way around to the other side to start going the other way. And so all of it is, there's just a lot to process. And none of us are screaming out loud because we don't want to block the communications between the 4 of us. But we're all having an experience inside our head.
Sure. So we get these visuals of it, and we're seeing more all the time. And there's this moment where this little guy, Rise, the plushie, falls. And Jeremy, am I hallucinating this, or did you kind of look a little sad? Because you sort of reached out, and it looked like you were playing with it a little bit. And I thought, I'm getting like sad vibes off you.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, Adrian. I don't know if I felt sad. I don't remember that. But I do remember expressly watching it and just, I definitely was sad ahead of time to leave space, for sure. In that moment, I can't honestly tell you. But I was having the time of my life up there. I was in no hurry to come home, unfortunately. But we had a date with the atmosphere, and it was just going to be the way it was.
So we have a question here from a young soul who's very curious.
Hi, my name is Tharn De Silva. I'm 16 years old and from Richmond Hill, Ontario. As astronauts, you understand the physics of space before launch. However, was there anything your brain still had trouble believing was real, even after you experienced it firsthand?
Okay, how great is that as a question?
That was great.
What do you're going somewhere.
Just the way he worded the question made me think about when I called down, or did I say that in the cabin, or did I actually call it down? We've gone sci-fi.
We just went sci-fi. It just looks unreal.
Yes.
That was a response to seeing the sun going behind the moon, but being 35 times smaller, right? We're roughly the same distance from the sun, but we're so much closer to the moon. But then also my eyes adjusting to the light changes and seeing the moon as a black hole, and then the halo glowing around the moon. And then the last thing was, it's hard to see stars if there's too much light. And I can see a halo around the moon, but I can see stars in it. And then the blackness of space, and I can see stars. My brain was just like, what I'm seeing, I shouldn't be seeing. I don't think I should be seeing this.
Since I was a kid that asked the question, an answer I hope a kid would love is, I don't think it ever got old watching our urine vent into space because it was like a giant blizzard every time.
They are showing a wastewater dump.
That was a single CCU, well hydrated.
Very impressive. Good job. That was a fun one. I did not expect it to look that way.
And I did not expect that answer at all. Look, we had a lot of people ask about what these two are asking about.
Hi, my name is Marty from Cranbrook, British Columbia.
Hello, my name is Olin Severson. I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I'm 11 years old.
I'm wondering if you had any psychological training to overcome Any claustrophobic moments you may have had?
I'm just wondering, what was it like being in such a small space so far away from home?
We do not have dedicated claustrophobia psychological training, but I do think part of being an astronaut is oftentimes being in very tiny confined spaces. The first time a spacesuit helmet went on me, I had to calm down. I actively had to calm down for a few seconds, but that is a very tight and confining feeling. What I found over my life of doing all of these unique things is I actually get comfortable in these environments. So being in the Integrity spacecraft, being in close physical contact with these three, for me, brought a feeling of comfort.
They're your weighted blanket.
Yes.
Precisely. I prefer weighted dinosaur,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
weighted blanket.
Oh, wow.
They're
Okay.
my emotional support astronauts too.
Yeah,
everybody.
there you go. There you go. So this notion of being calm I find is really interesting because everybody wears fear and anxiety a little different. And I'm wondering if you recognize it in each other and what it looked like in each other.
So there's an acknowledgement of the risk, there's an acknowledgement of the fears. I couldn't have guaranteed you that I was coming back alive, and I had made some of those preparations just in case. I believed we most likely would, but I was at peace with the outcome. And I really felt that amongst all of us. We were just in it together, and there was always a level of anxiety because at any moment it can go exactly the wrong way.
Because I mean that's courage though, right? Is being scared and doing it anyway. Like it's not human to not be scared. Is there a moment that you were genuinely frightened?
I had a few very acute moments of fear. Jeremy said it really well. There is, to me, there's a baseline of maybe anxiety or tension there that's there the whole time. Like if I was floating and someone was working out, you could feel the spacecraft oscillating as they're working out.
Especially this guy.
I wonder what that's doing to the spacecraft. And so that would heighten me a little. Before every one of our major trajectory correction burns, we had a warning or a caution come on, and that would heighten my sentences. And one time, actually, that kind of, on the way home from the moon, that kind of recaged us of, let us not forget where we are. Let us not forget the gravity of the situation that we are in. It is very important for us to be on alert at all times to honor this. I would say the most singular acute moment was we had a fire alarm emergency the day before we landed, and that tone is very distinctive. It was a false emergency, but that tone is very distinctive. And when that tone went off, even though we're looking around like everything is absolutely fine, you get that spike of adrenaline and that spike of fear. And then the neat part about that is we immediately executed our emergency procedures flawlessly without communications. And so it was good to see training paid off.
Did you come to a conclusion about how you'd show up for each other if you weren't going to make it home?
We did have a conversation about it a couple of days before launch. It was something that had been on my mind, just make sure we had sort of a shared expectation of how we should handle that or how we wanted to handle it. And just hearing it from each of us, then we can help one another live up to that expectation in that moment. It felt like a great conversation and everybody added a little bit to it. But I think for all of us, it was important that we would accept our fate, and if that were to be it, and we would just try to show up as humans, grateful for the lives we had lived, and just reflect back to others the preciousness of this life on Earth.
I mean, if you're having a moment or a bad day, you can't walk it off up there, right? You
No,
can't.
we can talk it off, though.
Talk it off.
But like, how do you keep your sanity? Because in moments of friction, because I would presume there were some.
There were a few.
For me, something I do is reframing. If I ever am feeling frustration in the moment, I just remind myself, what are the things about this moment that I will never have again and that I will miss, that I will never even have the hope of being in this moment again. You know, remind myself, you're in a spaceship, you're in a tiny little Hershey Kiss on the other side of the moon. You should just savor this moment.
Yeah. You also touch on something, though, that you can't walk it off. And we knew that as well. We thought about that, and we spent time learning about ourselves as individuals, our buttons, our friction points and soft spots, and then honoring that about each other.
Is it too personal to ask what a point of friction was?
It's not too personal. I think we'd have to dig a little, because we really, like when you look at that out the window over and over again, it does simplify things. It does remind you to put the importance on the right things. But the friction points that Victor's talking about are like insecurities that we all have inside of us, history that we have where when somebody does something we interpret it a certain way and it sort of triggers you. And so we have shared a lot about our triggers over time so that we can help one another recognize them and we can just more communicate more openly what those really are so we can get past them and get to the reality of what's happening.
You make me feel like human relationships are more complicated than flying in space.
They are.
They are.
100%. When we come back, okay, do you get crazy dreams in space?
All right.
And a special surprise from Jeremy's mom.
Nanaimo bars.
Your mom made those for you.
Of course.
As we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still to feel your love from Earth.
I mean, what you did is so extraordinary. I know you get asked a million questions, and I find that so many of the questions are so human. And I think thematically, sleep was like the #1 question. So we bunched a bunch of them together, so let's hear what they said.
Hi, my name is Alfie Chan. I'm 17 years old and I'm from Richmond Hill, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Luana and I am from Aurelia, Ontario.
My name is Brad Heath and I live in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories.
What changes have astronauts made over the years to make basic tasks like sleeping in space more comfortable?
What type of dreams did you have in space?
Did you toss and turn? Or perhaps you got the best sleep of your life?
Okay. Do you get crazy dreams in space?
I did.
You had crazy dreams?
To me, like, gravity is always a little goofed up. Like, you're almost floating, but you sink to the floor. I'm like, we're in space. Why do I keep sinking to the floor? And then I'm like, oh, it's a dream. So those things were a little bit off. And then they're off again when you get home. I always have weird gravity dreams when I first come home.
So let's talk about coming home, because I'm curious. I heard you talk about how the effects of microgravity leave you gradually a little bit. So what sort of things leave you, and what does that last thing to leave feel like?
For me, I had a very lingering, very slight dizziness. And when it would happen, even 2 weeks after getting back, I would just remember that that was a little bit of my body's adaptation to space still with me.
So a little love tap from space.
Yeah, I still had it. There's almost nothing left though.
And is that sad?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely is.
So back here, lots of people want to know what it's like to look at the moon. And if I may, have you been able to find Carol?
Not yet.
Are you looking?
Oh, we have an amazing, the NASA science team gave us the dates that we can go look, how we can find it, how we can walk our eyes onto it, because it'll look different from here on Earth than it looked there. So I actually sent that to my daughters Ellie and Katie, and we are going to look. But we haven't
telescope.
We, firstly, I'm sorry that you had to go through that.
Thank you.
That's terrible, and I'm glad your friends can talk about it with you.
And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reed, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as home, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol. And you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
You talked about Carol as a bright spot, but I don't know anything about Carol. What made her a bright spot?
We were riding in the spacecraft Integrity, and that this is not why we named the spacecraft Integrity, but she just had pure integrity. She was a nurse. She worked in a neonatal intensive care unit. She just always wanted to give back. And then once she had children, that was her bright spot. She just really was a pure human soul. She was not loud. I took care of all the obnoxiousness in the relationship, but she really just loved her kids, and she really loved giving back to people. And I think that's what it was. There was just no flash about her. She was just a very pure soul. It was Christina's idea. Jeremy approached me in Florida right before we launched. This came from this crew, and I was deeply touched. And it's something that my children will have for the rest of their lives, and hopefully grandkids and great-grandkids will think about that. It's a very special thing.
You guys are wonderful. Love is a huge part of this. I know science is the most important part, but I think Love is a big deal. There's a question I have to get to. I cannot tell you how many people have said, oh, you're going to see the actor-nauts. The actor-nauts. There are still people who do not believe that this happened. And, you know, how do you handle that? What's the best advice for coping with that?
I don't mind that people ask questions or are, you know, I want people to critically think about things and not just accept everything that they see. And to me, it's speaking to some need that we're not filling. And I'd love to help them fill it. I don't know how to do it. But like we've talked about a lot, you know, we don't carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. We can just be us, be authentic us, tell our truth, and how it's interpreted is how it's interpreted. And as long as they're not hurting anybody, there's no issue with that.
We have one last video for you, and we've left, it's a lovely couple.
I'm Gary Hansen, I'm Jeremy's father.
And I'm Nancy Hansen, his mom, and we live in Ingersoll, Ontario. And we have a question for Jeremy and the crew. After such a historical mission in which most of the world was following along, what would you like this mission to be remembered for? And also, we were very excited to see that little boy's smile that you had as you were floating around in the spacecraft.
Those are tough questions.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big one. Are you starting with me, Adrian?
Yeah, I think your mom would be mad if we didn't.
I think, you know, and you just brought it up just a few moments ago, you know, science is very important, but love is more important, and we should love this planet and we should love one another. That would be a great thing to be remembered for. We didn't create that. That's not new. We as humans already know this, but at least we were able to shine a mirror on it for a few moments.
So your mom had something else to say. She wanted us to give you something. And the instructions are very clear.
Does she know I'm going to see her tomorrow?
Maybe not at the time. But the instructions were, you have to share this with your friends.
Okay.
And you have to tell them why.
Okay.
And it's in a dry bag, which I love.
All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Nanaimo bars.
No.
Of course. Yeah, Mom's really great. This has been a lifelong favorite for me. Some of my birthday cakes were a tray of Nanaimo bars with candles in them. Wow. And now our son lives in Nanaimo, so I mean, it's just becoming even more relevant. So.
Would it be a crime to open this thing right now? Because they look delicious.
Adrian would like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Start over here. Thanks, Mom.
Yes, thank you, Jeremy's mom. And I can tell you, you were right. You probably know the smile the best, but we saw that boyish smile the whole time, and I heard the embodiment of that boyish smile a couple minutes after we took off from the ground, and Jeremy just couldn't hold it in anymore, and he goes, "This is so cool," while we're launching to space.
No kidding. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
You're good sports. She still got it, your mom, eh?
Yeah. Well, and if you visit, the Nanaimo bars are good, but the carrot cake's actually even better.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're so great. Coming up, a major house fire in Saskatchewan led to a dramatic rescue.
We both went in there and we were just like, everybody get out, there's a fire, we need to get out now.
How neighbors sprung into action to get everyone to safety. Next in our moment. You are looking at the aftermath of an aggressive house fire in Radville, Saskatchewan. When the fire struck, 8 people and a dog were in that house. But everyone got out safely, all thanks to their neighbors, Samantha Taggart and Greg Stewart, who spotted the fire while getting ready for work. Their incredible rescue is our moment.
What the We went outside, saw our neighbor's porch up in flames, and I smelled smoke. And I had lifted my head up, and I see all this orange light on the porch, and everything went numb, and adrenaline took over. So I ran back to my house, called Greg, and we bolted across the street. I got out of the way, and he kicked the door in. We both went in there and we were just like, everybody get out, there's a fire, like we need to get out now. There's no like terrified feeling of running into a burning house. It's time to go in and get everybody out. They were all like dead asleep, like they still couldn't hear us. One of the people that in the house came out and they're like, what's going on, what's going on? Like, we need you to get out, there's a fire. And then once everybody got out, the house just kind of engulfed and the fire department showed up, thankfully, and everyone is okay, and that's our main thing, is just trying to process the fact that, you know, we did just save 8 people's lives.
Yes, you did. Samantha Taggart, Greg Stewart, remember their names. They were supposed to be out of town camping when the fire happened, so their plans fell through. Thankfully, they were there. They work in the oil fields. She's a safety worker. He's an oxygen hand. She says part of the reason they reacted so quickly is because of the training. Everyone is grateful for them. And from all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.